Hello. Hi, everybody. Everybody, come on in this room. Y'all, come on in this room. BB, good afternoon. I see you in the chats. Also, I would like to thank everybody. Welcome to the Hood Conservative Podcast right here today with your host, Laverne Spicer, and my co-host, Travian.
Good
QT.
afternoon.
Follow
Good
Travian, y'all.
afternoon.
Y'all make sure y'all follow Travian because they did take some followers from her. So we trying to help her get her numbers back. Okay. Now we have some guests for today. We're waiting on Sheldon Daniels to join us. And also we're gonna have Luigi in, and he said he will be in the room around about 4, I think it is. So anyway, we're gonna move on. And whenever Sheldon gets on, he will be on. But we're gonna start talking about Miss Jasmine.
I think the timing is perfect. Just a few hours ago, Jasmine Crockett, I like to call her a different name, but she just blocked me. And, I would be on her page 5 times a day, just letting her know, just lighting her up with everything that she is saying to destroy this country, to, incite division, racism. She got so sick of me from my first comment this morning because I hit her about 8:39 a.m. every morning, and she ended up blocking me. So you know what? It's always smart to keep an eye on your enemy. And she wanted to block me. So here we are. We are going to be lighting her up alongside her opposition, Sheldon Daniels in Texas 30. And so I'm excited to have that conversation just to see where his head is at, making sure that he, gets the support that he needs. So I'm excited.
Exactly, and so am I because when I see Jasmine is such a embarrassment the way that she carries okay, the way that she is carrying on, acting like a little hood rat. And to me it's like an embarrassment, it's an embarrassment. And you know, uh the conversations are always about the same thing, you know, nothing about the district, nothing about helping the people, only about their agenda and how racist everyone is. Okay. So we all know that's a lie.
Well, I'm hoping that Doge will jump into her campaign finance records. She's toting around 3 different mansions, of which we are not for certain if she obtained that property prior to her you know getting in that seat in Congress. So I think we've got a lot of questions with Act Blue and her finance money. I think there needs to be a deep dive into this woman. I don't think she's planning to be reelected. G, you have a clip, and we're going to show you exactly how Jasmine Crockett got elected. G, run that clip.
Wants you to believe that she is just some career politician and that she is just the best at what she does. She ran in a soft election. Soft. And this is not an attack against the person that she ran against. His name is Jamar Jefferson, and he was a libertarian candidate. We all know typically the libertarian candidates take the least votes in most all elections. People do not typically vote for libertarians. We barely even know what the heck they do. So for her to run as a Democrat against a libertarian, she basically ran unopposed. She ran unopposed, and because of that, she took all the votes. So please, when you see this woman, do not assume that she just won her district and earned that seat in the House of Reps because she's the best to do the job, because that's not the case. She ran unopposed in Texas District 30. That's why so many Texans are so confused. They're incredibly confused about, like, oh my God, how did we end up with Al Green and Jasmine Crockett? Y'all got to do your job. When it's time again, we need y'all to do y'all job. Y'all gotta take care of this for the Americans, okay? I'm gonna need the Texans to stand up and help us out. But yeah, I just want to give you guys that clarity. She ran against Jamar Jefferson, a libertarian candidate who didn't really have any clear indications of what he kind of stood for. Like I said, it could have been a great guy, but at the end of the day, a libertarian is typically not going to be able to beat a Democrat or Republican candidate. So she ran unopposed in a soft district. So, hey, This district has a chance to do something different and do something a lot better. Go ahead and fix this. Fix this for us. Do us a solid.
Well, there you have it.
Every time she beats her chest as if she is the strong Black woman who was put in that position by her constituents, we know she's a lie. She was a fraud from the beginning. So it's only right for us to take her out of that seat. I think her constituents, like you said, Laverne, they don't get to hear about what she's doing for her district. They don't get to hear about anything but Elon Musk and how she hates Trump.
And how racist the Republicans are.
So
you know, we are all racist. We are all white supremacists. We are all, you know, everything else. But one thing we are is fighting for this country and against these communist, Marxist people that clearly don't care about this country. I want to give a shout out to everybody out there that's listening. I see a lot of comments. I see y'all comments. Y'all keep those comments coming. Hey, exposing the liberal cult. I see pretty damn nifty. You said you ladies have an uphill battle. I commend you expressing your parents' opinions during this time. Okay, I don't see no uphill battle because I fight every day, all day. So I don't even like see no battle at all. Nora, hi Nora. Journeyman, yes, we here and we are ready.
Nora.
So Travian, she. Okay, I don't know who that is.
You know, I think that
she was saying that what you call it need to be audited and arrested.
Yes. I think that, you know, for her blocking me today, you sit in a seat where you put forth a vote to say the president can go into war. If you can't handle me psychologically tapping into your little pea brain 5 times a day and not be able to get overwhelmed to where you feel like I am that important to you and your peace of mind, you're sitting in a seat where you will send this country into war. And I snapped your spine like a twig. So I'm now going to work on your official account. So expect me to be there 5 times a day, every day, just like I have been.
Welcome, Jamie, to the show. I see you first time watching. Well, you better put on your seatbelt, baby, because this is the Laverne Spicer Hood Conservative Show, and it is very spicy up here. We're gonna move on, Travian. But before we do, I want to share a comment. Someone had inboxed to me. I guess he labels himself as D's Nuts. So he sent me a comment and he said, I was born poor white trash. Can't be much different than a hood conservative, right? So I wrote him back and I say huge difference. Hood conservative is a title, not a reality of anyone's upbringing at all. So there is a big difference. Okay, there's a huge difference. So I just don't want nobody to get that twisted because we say hood conservative. We are talking about the issues and the concerns and matters of the hood and the people that live in the hood. Okay, all Americans, period. But it doesn't mean that, you know, we are in the hood. That's 2 different things. So I'm gonna get that straightened out right now.
Definitely
okay,
not
so
a hood mentality. We could still live in the hood and not have a hood mentality. So
I think absolutely.
So that's absolutely. I think that needed to be cleared out. Yeah.
Right. So that's what I wanted to do. Make sure that he understood that there is a huge difference. There's a very huge difference.
Exactly. A hood conservative is the best conservative because we had to overcome being Democrats all of our life. We're some of the smartest conservatives out there because we figured it out after being brainwashed by the grandmothers and the mothers for generations. So a hood conservative is somebody that you can count on. A hood conservative is not going to play any games. A hood conservative wants the same thing you do. A healthy, a healthy family, a good place to live, healthy schools,
generational wealth.
Generational wealth. We want the same thing. So, trust in a hood conservative, because we're here to play and we stand for this country and we stand strong for this country. So don't ever get that twisted. A hood conservative is somebody that you want to know.
Conservative is grassroots, boots on the ground. We are independent thinkers that choose to break away from the matrix and stop believing the lies that we have been told, that we've been brainwashed by the media to believe. And we decided to do our own independent study, compare the notes, and come to a different reality about how we see things. So that kind of sums up between the two of us about what a hood conservatives mean and what it is. Okay. So Sheldon said he's coming. He's going to need a few more minutes, but he will be on.
Well, there he is.
Yes.
Hey, y'all.
Hello.
I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm out right now. I'm doing my little door-to-door deal. And I don't know how I missed this. Of course, I want to be on the Hood Conservative podcast.
I have been promoting you so heavily today because a few hours ago, Jasmine Crockett blocked me. And I'm like, oh, you want to play
Welcome
games,
to the
Jasmine?
club. Welcome to the club.
So now you want to block me so you can't get my post 5 times a day. Well, guess what? Today I'm going to be lighting you up with your opposition in Texas 30, Sheldon Daniel. So welcome to the Hood Conservative. Timing is everything.
Thank you. Got my waves going.
And congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the love. Like, you guys have just embraced me and the whole MAGA movement. It is a fun ride, and thank you.
I saw your little excerpt a little bit ago. You gave a little speech on reparations and how you do not support that. I'm going to let you expound on that for just a second because I think it should be carried over.
Oh, yeah. I was afraid to post that because I know that subject, at least for my entire life, it seemed like it's been radioactive for anybody in politics to even want to comment on it on either side. But
because it's always such an explosive conversation, especially if you're on X and those spaces that they have and you're dealing with the Foundation of Black Americans. Oh man, that's like blowing up dynamite, just holding that conversation. And, for so many of us that have been involved working with politicians, and we know how they lie, and how they try to give people hope about things that they have absolutely no intentions on doing. I call it dangling carrots.
Absolutely. Pandering, there some people call them charlatans, but yeah, I mean, I put the video out because there, like you said, Miss Cuddy, is it Cuddy?
Cutie.
Okay, Cutie. People all in my comments, right? Who's your 6th great granddad, and where was he born, and are you for or against cash payment reparations? And I hate to ignore people who are engaging with me on social media. I obviously can't talk to everybody about every issue, but I know this is going to be one because my district is Black and brown. It's a very vocal Black community in TX30. So I just thought it best for me to take the opportunity to just tell what I think is the truth about that deal. And maybe change the narrative and be kind of a breath of fresh air in politics in general. So that's why I did the video. But to expound on that, when it comes to reparations, the topic is always a study. But when I run through this exercise in my mind, I'm like, how does that work? First of all, you need delineation, right? Like, who are the people who are actually entitled to it? Because you can't just look at someone and tell, right? And so, but what if someone, what if my granddad married a Jamaican woman or something? Like, am I still FBA? You know what I mean? Or am I still entitled to reparations? And how much do I get compared to someone? There's no way. Like, there's no realistic way or efficient way to determine who would even be entitled to it. Who is owed it? Nobody today has ever owned slaves. And I don't feel like they should be taxed or have anything taken from them to pay a debt that they had nothing to do with. Right. And so I could go in. Yeah, I could go into it a lot deeper, like talk about because I've studied the Reconstruction period in America, right? A lot of people have, it's a very interesting topic right now. But even back then, when our ancestors were freed from the plantations, they weren't looking for just like a big cash payment. They wanted to be freed first and foremost. They wanted to be treated like the Americans that they were, right? They just wanted to be treated equally like everybody else. A little bit of seed and a little bit of land so that they could work and determine their own future. When you go back and read it, that's what they were wanting. It wasn't a check. And so in 2025, we basically got that. We got what they asked for. We have equality of opportunity in 2025. Anybody in America can sacrifice, put their head down. It might be hard. It's probably going to be hard. It's probably going to take an extreme amount of dedication, right? Inhuman amount, but it can be done. And if you do it, like I'm a living testament of it. I come from sleeping on the floor, the linoleum floor in the ghettos with the roaches. And like I come from the real hood, the real poverty in the hood that you think of. But now I live in a nice neighborhood. My kids are taken care of. My wife is happy. And I didn't spend all my life waiting for that handout to come. I went out there and got that. And so I'm trying to be that example. And there are a lot of people in my district who live like I live. It's just that the majority of the people who look like us in the poorer parts of the district, the most blue parts of the district also, the ones who support Jasmine, they're the ones who, if I drive you over there right now, there's going to be 50 dudes sitting out there playing dominoes and drinking 40s, and it's 2:25 in the afternoon. They've been doing this 25 years. Now, these are the same people in the comments or when I'm going out canvassing that are saying, oh, you're an Uncle Tom, you're a sellout. You know, the reason why I don't have anything is because the white man. And I never really subscribed to that false ideology. And so that's what the video was about.
You know, you said something that really caught my attention there. You know, I'm in Miami, right? So in Miami, on every corner, damn near, you're gonna see people selling flowers, people with fruit stands selling mangoes, cucumbers, oranges. You're gonna see people on the corners with food trucks, right? And you see people on the corner selling water, Gatorade, stuff like that, right? Some
Right.
white, some black, some Hispanics. But everybody's on the corner trying to make a dollar, right? And they selling. They out there all day, all different hours, sometimes late into the night. But I never hear any of them complaining, saying that it is the white man's fault why they can't get ahead. Instead, they out there trying to make it. They out there hustling. They trying to feed their families. You know, whether anybody buys or whether they don't buy it, they still there. You know, when you go on the street, you're gonna see so and so they're selling the flowers.
Right.
Nobody's
People
complaining
heat,
saying it's the
sweating.
white man's fault. So why is it that everything is the white man's fault when you don't want to get out of the bed and go to work? You want to stay home all day and play video games and eat up every damn thing in the refrigerator and smoke up every piece of Bob Marley weed. Excuse me, if it ain't Bob Marley, it's gonna be chronic. It's gonna be something. You're gonna get your smoke, drink, and eat on every day. But everything is the white man's fault. I just don't get it.
Yeah, you're coming from a place of weakness, right? And so I'm trying to be an example of, I hate to use this phrase like pull yourself up by the bootstraps, not because I don't believe it, but just because I'm just tired of hearing it being put like that. It's more just get on your grind for yourself. Stop waiting for it to come to you. That's never going to happen. I tell people, if you're sitting here waiting for the $1 million to just come knocking on your door, you're going to be waiting a long time. That's never going to happen. And so you would be better served to go out there. Like, here's my story. I come from modest means. Let's put it that way. Coming up, I had opportunities to do things that other kids were doing. They were making a lot of money. I didn't do those things. And this is where like the nerd, academician, politician, like getting my book started to come, because I realized that I wasn't like that. I don't want to be a big time dope boy. I don't want to be a pimp or a gangster or any of that stuff. And you guys are getting money now. But, you know, my dad, my aunts, uncles, my grandma on my dad's side, they were all involved in the drug trade in the 80s, and they all went to prison, right? My grandma, my aunts, uncles, I got to see this as a kid. And so I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, I don't want to do that, right? And so I did all the stuff, you know, walking around filling out job applications. And when I couldn't get a job, I was like, well, I'll get a lawnmower and just walk up and try to cut people's grass. And that's how I've always done. And then growing up, I got a camera and I was like, I'll shoot the music videos for the rappers, but I can't, engage in that lifestyle, right? Because I want to have kids one day in a future, and I don't want to be out here doing all this craziness with you guys. And so I've always been respected in my neighborhood, but for being like hardworking. I'm very true to myself, and I'm very vocal about what I believe in, even in the face of like all the peer pressure in the hood. And so it just prepared me for what I'm doing right now, running for office against this huge monolith of Democrats, right? But there's 80,000 Republicans that vote consistently Republican in my district. This is what people don't talk about. There's 35-40% of my district is Spanish speaking people that are not looking for handouts. They own businesses, okay? And they are faithful. They love their God. They love their kids. I drive through their communities and you see children. It's like the 90s again. You see kids riding bikes and playing tag, and the parks are full of children. But this is not in our community. This is in the other communities. When you go to South Dallas, to MLK and Malcolm X, to that intersection, it's poverty, it's addiction, it's people sleeping on the sidewalks, it's broken glass everywhere, it's trash everywhere. This isn't white people coming here and doing this. This is us doing this ourselves. And so I don't even like give these people ground to stand on when they try to engage in that conversation with me as far as like, my campaign, because I'm more forward thinking, and I'm more focused on the hardworking people of TX30. I'll let Jasmine talk to the people who want to sit around and do nothing and just get handouts. But I'm here for the small business owners. I'm here for the people who are busting their butt, trying to realize that American dream.
Well, I wanted to just make sure while you're here that we get a chance for you to present your agenda to our audience, because earlier today, I definitely wanted to draw the comparison between you and Jasmine for our viewers today. You're for public safety. I would love to hear what you have in mind as far as that. Closed borders. We know what your situation is with reparations. And I just think that, people don't realize that Black people got reparations for 4 years with DEI. So, I just feel like, we let our audience know, what you stand for, what your agenda is, how you separate yourself from Jasmine Crockett, and then also, what information you found out about Jasmine Crockett while you've been in this race.
Okay, so, I'm big on education. Education, that was my superpower. That's what took me from where I was to where I'm at now. And so I'm a big proponent of good education. Unfortunately, in my district and in DISD, or Dallas Independent School District, you got about a third of the kids, any given grade level, that can read on grade level. Everybody else is just kind of like spelling phonetically, like they're texting. You know how these kids are nowadays. And, schools are failing. If I can just say it plainly, schools are failing in Dallas and all over the country. And so one of my big solutions to helping fix TX30 from the ground up, starting with the youth, is just by fixing our schools. And I'm a big proponent of school choice. So I want to see parents who send their kids to a school and their kid comes back home and they're 18 years old and they don't know how to spell their own name or write a complete paragraph. Other parents sending their kids to those schools should be able to pull their kids out of that school, and the money that school would have got for that kid, the $80,000 a year or whatever, should go into an education savings account. And then that parent should be able to pay to send their kid to whatever school that they want to send them to. And it's not just good school, bad school. It's for the parents that want their kid to go to like a more parochial school, or a school that incorporates faith into the curriculum.
School choice. Yeah.
School choice. Absolutely. So like my kids, I prefer Montessori style environment because it's just more free, right? But that might not be right for everybody. But public school in Dallas definitely isn't right. It's not working for really anybody, really. And so school choice is a major plank of my campaign. Also, border security. I don't think I really need to go into that too far. President Trump's doing a great job. We need to finish the wall, and we have a right to defend our borders just like every other country on earth. That's all I'm going to say about that. No country on earth has ever existed without borders. So I don't want to be the first one to try that. Joe Biden tried it and look what happened, right? And so I have people in my life that you know, I personally know, like, I was touched by illegal immigration. One of my favorite cousins, my only boy cousins younger than me, killed by an illegal immigrant driving drunk. She shot off to Mexico the next day when she heard the police were looking for her. We still don't know where she's at. So there's no accountability when they come over here and they break the law. So that, you know, frustrates me, right? But as far as immigration, because, you know, 35-40% of my district are Spanish speaking people, there a lot of immigrants and immigrant ties to TX30. I'm less focused on punishing illegal immigration. There are enough people in the party and enough people on Capitol Hill that are focused on that aspect of the immigration deal. I'm more focused on rewarding the legal immigrants who come here, start a business, create jobs for Americans, and don't cause any trouble. So those people I want to focus on and reward those people by giving them an opportunity to tap somebody from back home, to nominate them to come here, immigrate here, and that person's immigration process would be expedited. So as opposed to it taking years for you to be able to come here and finally get your status, right? If you get tapped by somebody who's come here and kind of proven themselves, it might only take you a year, 18 months to get your card and you're good to go. And then you start a business and you create jobs. This way we pull the best and the brightest and the innovators and the hard workers from all these countries versus the people who are just coming here looking for a Democrat handout. So that's immigration policy. Economic policy, obviously, I think right now, foreign policy is probably the bigger topic because we've been sending all this money to all these countries for many reasons we don't even really truly understand. And so I applaud President Trump for rolling that back. And thank you for letting me talk policy. I never get to talk policy.
No, that's important to me. I've been a campaign manager for a congressional candidate in the 5th District of Georgia. So I'm interested to know what your agenda is.
Okay. And so I'm also aware of the growing influence of China and the so-called BRIC nations, right? But China is buying up American farmland, right? They're buying up stuff in Canada. They're buying up businesses and stuff in Mexico. They're wholesale buying up Africa through debt, though. They're not just paying them. They're loaning them money and putting them in this debt to where eventually they're going to be able to just seize all of Africa and all of its raw materials. This is a threat to our national security, right? We need to stay number one. America needs to stay first. I would hate to have to do that via war. I'd rather just be able to do that via economic policy. But we have much bigger political problems right now than my grandparents built the White House. And you know what I mean? So that's where I'm coming from with it.
So,
you decide to run.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
What made you decide to run for office? What was the point in your life where you said, I'm going to throw my hat in this race and I'm going to make this thing do what it do? What made you decide to run?
I wasn't making a big enough impact just practicing law and just advocating for people in courtrooms. I knew that I know that I'm capable of a lot more. And I've been kind of holding back, right? Because let's be honest, it hasn't always been easy being a Black conservative or a Black Republican. It's kind of in vogue right now. But at least my experience was I just went to go vote Republican and I had the few friends that I could talk to about it. But now I'm like in the culture. I went to CPAC and I'm learning that it's like a whole lifestyle being a conservative. There are events and there's fun things that you can do. And it's always talking about policy and everybody's respectful and welcoming, right?
Very much so. And that's a beautiful thing because when I show up to these meetings, a lot of times I'm like it's only like 1 or 2 Black people in the room. I mean, we're not hard to spot in the room. You know what I mean? Right. So when you're in a room like that and people are so respectful and genuinely nice, because I know phony crap. You can't fool me with it.
Yes,
I can spot a phony. But people are genuinely nice, very welcoming, and very supportive.
Yes,
I mean, I ran for Congress myself in 2020, and I got a lot of support from people in the room. But also, when I used to be a Democrat and I would go to their meetings, I never felt that type of support in those rooms. You know, they
Yes, ma'am.
didn't say, "Hey, would you like to be a part of this or would you like to run for that?" They never offer any of that.
Right.
You know, they had their top people and they just stuck with their top people, and
Right.
that was it. But it's not like that when I go to a GOP meeting. You know,
Right.
it's opportunities in the room, and I do like that. You
Yes,
know,
ma'am.
I like that, and like I said, it's a very positive place.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
it's no condescending back talk, and I don't like condescending stuff. I mean, you know, you start that condescending tone, and you're gonna get it.
Right.
And
I understand.
I don't run into that, so I understand what you're saying there. And in 2020, it was really rough for
It was.
black people that
Yeah.
were, you know, coming out to say, "Hey, I support the Republican Party." You
Mm,
know, I mean, we just got called all kind of names off the
right.
rip from the jump.
Right.
So now, like you say, it's much more welcoming in a
It is.
sense.
It's welcoming. I like the direction that our country is moving towards, and then I see what many would consider like a colleague or a peer. Jasmine's only 5 years older than me, and we're both attorneys. We're both kind of in the same world, so I don't look at her like this abstract figure. She's like a colleague to me. And when I see her go to Capitol Hill and do that, it's no different from me seeing like an attorney come in the courtroom, you know, all disheveled and smelling like alcohol and not representing his client. That's gonna make me mad, right? And I'm gonna want to jump in there and fix it. Sending Jasmine to Capitol Hill and for her to just fail so spectacularly and to make it all about herself. She's not even trying to pass any laws. She's entering bills so she can run back down here and say, "Look, I'm fighting for us," but she's never passed a bill in all of her political career, ever, not one. And so that in and of itself, like, she's wholly ineffective as a legislator, and I am a deal maker. People know me for being a deal maker. I come in the room and I can bring 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sides together. We get a deal. We're done. Let's move on to the next one. That's who you want on Capitol Hill. You want somebody who can be effective as a legislator. But the main thing is, I looked up and I was like, man, this woman is trying to create a world that's gonna basically ruin my kid's childhood. My daughter loves playing sports. I can't imagine her going up against a biological male. I just can't do it. And then I see how hard that she fights for illegal immigrants, while we have so many people in our district that could use somebody up there to swing that influence around and help these people here in TX30. And so also, she's filthy rich. Jasmine grew up filthy rich. She went to schools. There are no schools like that in TX30. There's not a kid in TX30 that has that experience of going to a $55,000 a year day school or $35,000 a year grade school. We don't know that. We are hardworking, humble people, and we need somebody who knows this area and isn't just flashy. It was easy for her to come here because she's rich, and you know how it is in the hood. Money gets respect. You could be a straight up killer, drug dealer, pimp, but if you riding big rims and flashing money everywhere, you're going to constantly have a gaggle of people around you. Maybe that's not even just exclusive to the hood. That's probably for everybody, right? That's what Jasmine did. She came here in her big fancy cars, buying her big tables, you know what I mean? And basically buying her influence, right? And people look up to wealth and they perceive her as being successful, but she didn't work for any of that. She's not. Her dad is a successful pastor. He managed to make millions of dollars off selling people hope, right? But she needed a challenger, you know, and the conservatives in my district needed a fighter. And that's right up my alley. And so especially with somebody like her who they denigrate men, you know, the only black men that they respect are gay black men. And as a straight black man who respects my woman, I was raised to respect black women, but I was also raised to be a strong black man too. And so there's no room for black men like me in the Democratic Party. And they use Jasmine to attack men like me. And so I'm like, bring it then, bring it. Like, let's lay it all out on the table and let me show you guys how to flip a district.
That's awesome. I wanted to also ask you what you found out about Jasmine Crockett that you plan to expose. Let us know, let people know outside of you on those credentials that you just relayed.
Yes,
Let
ma'am.
people know what it is about you that will bring, and I heard you say things about foreign policy as far as your economic policy, but TX30 wants to know what type of economics you're going to bring into their district. And so that they feel something that they don't have to wait for a federal pin to make a possibility. What do you think about that?
So good question. I'm glad that you added, the no federal pen thing on there. Okay, right. So part of the job as a U.S. representative is obviously legislating, right? You're coming up with laws, or you're either repealing bad laws or coming up with good ones to make America more free, and better. Now, the other half of it is, and this is where what Jasmine really, really leans into. You're almost like an influencer. You're a voice for a million people when you're a U.S. rep, right? And so when you talk, people listen. So I plan to use my influence the same way I've always used all my influence, to bring people together and to build things. Like, I'm big into small business, and I'm big into a lot of people putting in a little bit on something that's bigger than all of us. So if I could go organize South Dallas and get everybody to pitch in, say $50 a month on a co-op grocery store that we put smack dab in the middle of the neighborhood, and then the profits get shared throughout the community. That's how my mind thinks. So I would use my influence to attract more job creators to my district, right? To influence these children to be kind of like a counterbalance to all the degeneracy that they're pushed into through the culture, right? Like, I'm still
social media.
Yeah, like, so when kids meet, like when I talk at these schools, it makes me feel so good, because the only real role models in our community that they're used to seeing, they earn their wealth by pumping like gang culture or degeneracy. It's like they're either ball players or they're a rapper or they're a dope boy here in Dallas.
Being that you mentioned that, somebody put that in the comments. Also, U.S. citizen. I'm just gonna read the she said that we need to bring back jobs into the cities, bring back the nuclear family, stop idolization of people like LeBron James, and start using doctors, teachers, etc., and positive role models.
Exactly. And so I'm trying to embody that by just being the example and just living it. I got kids looking at me. You know what I mean? Like, I got children looking at me, and they're trying to see how I carry myself. Now, by no means am I perfect. Like, I did all the stupid things growing up as a teenager that you can do. I got a lot of mistakes that I made. People don't know this. I had a kid when I was 14 years old. Like, that's how fast I was living. I got a 25-year-old daughter. You know what I mean? Kids need to see somebody from their environment that made it out, that comes back and says, this is the blueprint. And the first step is you got to get out of this victimhood mentality. You got to get off that Democrat plantation. And I'm not even telling you where to go, but just be a critical thinker. Okay, so that's what I plan on doing. I plan on using my influence and being very, very present in TX30. And then all the big business people that I'm meeting right now, this is a wild ride, and it is amazing. I'm so blessed. I plan on calling these people and being like, hey, remember you said you got my back when I was campaigning? I need you to come open up a shop here in TX30 and give some of my people some jobs. All right, so they can earn a good living. Jasmine's not doing this. If Jasmine meets somebody, she's going to use her influence to big herself up. She's going to use it to get herself on the red carpet, to get herself a bigger interview or a bigger speaking fee or whatever, right? I've been doing this 11 years practicing law, and you see how I've used my law license. I can't fake it for 11 years. You know what I mean? So you send me to Congress, you're going to get that same work ethic. You're going to get that same, like, I'm for the people type representative. I don't even really know how to be like Jasmine. It's just, that's evil to me. In my family, that's considered evil. The things that she does and how she uses her position. I don't want to go to hell. I believe in God. And so I'm going to use my position to help. In the Bible, Daniel was a great counsel to the king, right? And so my last name is Daniels, and I've always kind of taken that because my family, we're in the church. I got a lot of preachers in my family. And I always thought that was going to be my calling. I was going to be good counsel to people who were great leaders like President Trump, and be able to speak on behalf of my people to somebody like him who is open to it. President Trump's the only president in American history I know of that admitted that Black people helped build this country. Something as obvious as that. And they call him a racist. And so I want to stand by his side and fight against everybody. I want to protect this man. And I want to pass laws that support his agenda. I don't understand why Congress isn't codifying everything that he's doing right now. I understand that they're trying to defend the tax on the tariffs. But if I were on Capitol Hill right now, every time he signs an executive order that everybody agrees with, I'm sponsoring a bill to make that the law. Why is that not happening? Right? And so that's what you're going to get from me. Kind of a nuts and bolts fixer type congressman. I might become like this type of cultural phenomenon or whatever just because I'm so new and different. But I think eventually people will just respect that this guy's just up there trying to do a good job. So
what would you do when or if you are duly elected? What would you do on day one?
Oh gosh. Probably just try to learn the intricacies of the job. Like when I first got licensed, I went to the most experienced criminal defense lawyer that I knew. And I was like, I know all the obvious glaring stuff that I can read in the book, but I don't want you to tell me the nuances. Like, what are the things that I need to see coming and be able to read between the lines, right? And that's what made me like a really good lawyer coming out, like a winning lawyer. So I'll do the same thing. And DC is it's different. You know, I've been there, and when you see how Capitol Hill works, it's like, wow, that is a whole different type of machine, but I'm adaptable. You know, you can drop me anywhere on earth and I know that I will survive. And so basically I would reach out to the veterans, Brandon Gill, Mace, you know, the Freedom Caucus, essentially, and say, how can I help, right? And then I also got a whole package of policies that I'm going to bring with me too, but I can't talk about that, obviously, because Jasmine will just try to steal it from me.
Exactly. So. Well, I'm glad to hear that you have your head on your shoulders and you know what your district actually needs, because I think, you know, with her, like you said, making everything about herself, racism, division, Trump, Elon, we haven't heard anything or seen anything that she's tangibly done for TX30. And I think, you know, whatever it is you're going to need as far as, you know, support, this is a tough, you know, road that you're on getting to the finish line. So I want you to make sure you can reach out to me. And there are people in my comments from earlier today when I told them that you were going to be on the show today. They said, look, we're not playing. Put us in the game, you know, wherever we can help. So
yeah, I'll take questions. I'll take questions from anybody. Like, I'm out talking to voters, but I can talk to you guys the same way. Like, ask me, ask away.
Oh, you know, I'll ask questions because
let me ask you. Hi, Benji. Welcome into the room.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, everybody.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Do you have a campaign video out?
Not yet. Right now, I'm trying to secure a location, and so it's hard right now because in my district we only have a few like really bustling business centers, and real estate is it's just limited and it's very expensive. I got quoted $5,200 for a 1,600 square foot spot. And I've only raised $55,000. So that'll get me through maybe 10 months, right? If I spend everything on rent. And so I'm holding off on that. I have my team together. We just need a place to operate. And so honestly, can I ask you guys to help me out with that? Like, seriously, if we can just raise like another round to where I can sign the lease and get us through the next at least 19 and a half months until election day, that would be tremendously helpful. Because I plan to just churn out content. When people really get to see who I am, where I come from, the people around me, right? The other people who are around me, it's going to be a landslide victory. Because everything they like about Jasmine, I have that in spades, but I'm actually for the people. I'm actually from this area. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. It's real with me versus with her. It's just like a political ploy. She knows the buttons to push. Whereas I'm just trying to bring the truth.
I don't think she's pushing any buttons. I think as she grew to be the face of the Democrat Party, which is just an abomination, you still have Nancy Pelosi in the back waiting to let Jasmine hang herself and then to usher in AOC as the calm, level-headed one. This is what I'm seeing right now in the Democrat Party. People are saying that they don't have a plan. Democrats always have a plan.
They have a plan. They're using her to raise money. People don't know this. But the more she does that and stokes people's anger and just gets it going or has motion, as they say.
Fundraiser email that comes right behind every single
there you go.
Of course.
And Kamala broke them. Kamala broke the Democrats, and so they need Jasmine. Who do they depend on when they really need something done?
A Black woman.
There you go. There you
But
go.
Kamala wasn't black. That's why she
Yeah.
lost.
That's one reason why she lost. I'm sorry, Benji. Go ahead, man.
I just have a question. I just want to play devil's advocate here about electability, because this is, obviously it's a city, it's a red state, but I always ask any Republican candidate just coming from a strategic side about electability. This girl, obviously she's a superstar. Everybody knows her. For whatever reason we may think she's dumb, she's connecting. You know what I mean? It's working for her. She's hopscotched over AOC. So she's not, we can't underestimate this lady. So what I'm saying is her Achilles heel would be like what's going on back in her district. I'm looking at the map of the district here. I didn't get a chance to do much research, but I'm seeing that it does run through, central Dallas and down into like the southern suburbs. So how much of that area is like, because I've been to Texas, years ago, but I'm in Philadelphia speaking here. How much of that district is like solidly like black areas where she's going to have like, a lot of coverage, a lot of people, pumping her out, like ministers and things like that.
Right.
And then how much of it is like suburban white lady territory, which is also just as bad for Republicans?
Well, to answer the first part of your question, the solid blue voting precincts are all in like the impoverished part of southern Dallas. So if you want to go on your Google Maps, just look up the intersection of Malcolm X and MLK, which you could probably do this in any major city.
Right.
Malcolm X and MLK, and look around. You'll probably see those guys I was talking about on damn Google Maps because they never leave. So look around. That's where she's gonna get. That's where it's solid blue, because those people are dependent on the government. This is like the WIC Central of Dallas. And so that's where the worst schools are and the least educated people are. These people they take their social cues and life advice from rappers. You see what I'm saying?
Do they vote?
They do vote. Now they vote because the Democratic Party, they go there around election time and they put a lot of work in, like a lot of work. It's been so difficult in TX30 for a Republican because you had this incumbent, you had Eddie Bernice Johnson in there. It's already hard to beat an incumbent regardless. But then you also had this attitude from like the National Party that let's kind of let them have that. That's why we created that district, right? So the poor black people can have a representative. But now, they've redrawn the district and the demographics in TX30 have changed dramatically. And all it takes is coming here and you'll see it. I would say for every person who voted for Jasmine, first of all, the numbers also show that most people didn't come out and vote. Most people didn't.
Do you have a church partner in the district? Because I mean, our foothold really into the Democrat Party from being on the conservative side is going to be through church, through black men who do believe in Christ, who don't want to be a part of the Democrat agenda. So we have to have some sort of stronghold in that area, because I mean that's why I'm seeing where we kind of
we have a stronghold.
Because we have a stronghold. Black ministers that support Trump that are that's our way in. So do we have a way in Dallas?
So let me ask you a question, because I feel like based on your question, you might not know. Do you know that we won, like Trump won, like Republicans won outright?
34% of black men in Texas. It was
great. But let's get more specific. We're talking TX30. We're talking my district. There are voting precincts in my district that are red outright. So when you talk about do we have a base? We absolutely have a base. When you look at the map, the west side is mostly Spanish-speaking people. It's covered in red, right? These people vote Republican in the past. Now, a lot of them didn't come out this last time because they were just, apoplectic, disinterested in both candidates, right? But these people aren't like that to me. Like, my biggest supporters is the Spanish-speaking community. My first meet and greet that I had after I announced my campaign, I got invited to. It's like a staple restaurant right in the heart of Little Mexico here in Dallas. And the guy's like, man, this is your spot. Like, you can use my restaurant to do your thing. I'm just being so welcomed by the Spanish-speaking community because we talk the same language. And they're not like most black people in America. They were never, they never had a gun put to their head and said, you're a Democrat. Don't even ask any questions. So they're free to think how they want to think. Most of them, like I said, are small business owners and they got families. Right. And there's a lot of Tejanos here, too. People who have been in Texas a very, very long time. These people aren't voting Democrat. They didn't vote at all last time, but they're going to vote for me in 2026. We have 80,000 active Republicans in TX30. I can beat Jasmine with 160,000 votes. In this last general, she only got 190,000 votes, and that was firing on all cylinders, and I mean all cylinders. She only pulled 190. I already got 80 that are committed to voting for me, right? 80,000. Now I got the Spanish-speaking community, and then I have all these common sense Democrats, these centrist Democrats, older black men, especially, like you were saying, who are like, we're riding with you. We're not riding with Jasmine in 2026. The only people who are going to vote for Jasmine are the people who are, I hate to use the word, but it's the word. They're ignorant to how this thing works. They just don't know how it works. They don't know what a rep is really supposed to do. So they don't even know how to grade her on her job. I hear her supporters tell me that they know she's doing a good job because they see her on TV all the time. And they really think that that's a good job and that's what she's supposed to do. The numbers are on our side. It's just a lot of hard work that we have to do to go out. And I have to go tell these people, I'm your guy. I'm your guy. Let's talk. Ask me whatever. Let me prove. Let me win your vote right here. And that's what I'm doing. And I started early because I know I need that time. I need that.
Are they giving you time on local news there?
Nah, this is a Dallas Morning News is blue, brother.
I just mean any local news. I was just wondering, are they trying to block you out?
No, they're not blocking me out. They're not blocking me out. It's just right now here in Dallas, we got local elections coming up in May. And, you know, Dallas is a sanctuary city, and there's a lot of nefarious things going on at City Hall, and that is kind of dominating the local narrative here. My race, you know, is a year off. I suspect what they're doing right now is they're probably trying to dig up a bunch of stuff on me and, you know, play that whole game, do the opposition research deal. But there's nothing that they're going to be able to dig up that, like, it's not already out there. I used to make music. And so I spoke about my life in my music. There are no secrets with me. The worst thing that anybody's ever judged me on in my life, going to jail, dude. I went to jail when I was like 19 for weed, bro. Like I went, yeah. So, and I got a DWI. This is something I probably should put this out here. When I first got my law license, I went back to my mother's hometown. It was like Juneteenth or something like that. Or I had been a lawyer, maybe not that long. We stay up. My family tradition is we barbecue. Like we'll smoke the meat and we'll do it all through the night and drink and play dominoes, and then we party the next day. Well, we did that. Obviously, I come back and I'm a lawyer now. Everybody's like, oh, you know, let's take a shot. Let's da 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 da. I got a little too lit up on Juneteenth, and my wife, she was my fiance at the time. We didn't live far, and we're in the country, and so she's like, hey, like I'll follow you, whatever. I fell asleep. I had been up like, you know, I don't even know how long I'd been up. We stayed up a whole day and then we partied. Yeah, I fell asleep, ran off the road. I don't even know how I survived. I walked away from it. But I stopped drinking after that, you know. I drink every now and then now. But, man, back then it was just fun, you know. Like, I finally made it. This is my life's dream. Like, I finally made it. I went years without a phone, without a girlfriend, riding the bus, you know what I mean? Like, getting made fun of. And I was like, you just wait. And then when I finally got there, I celebrated a little bit too hard. And but that's the only thing that you're really going to be able to bring up on me. Everything else is above board. Like, I'm solid. I am as solid as they come.
Okay. And has no polling has been done as of yet, because this is still very early. So there's been no like official polling or anything like that.
Nah, but it's winnable. I mean, Jasmine loses supporters every day. She's burned. You asked me a question earlier, Miss Cutie. You know, what can I tell you? I can tell you that Jasmine, she covered up a lot of the things that she did when she first started running, and people are finding out some of the stuff now. Some of her most ardent supporters, especially in the church, and they're falling back from her. Like, one thing is, you know, a lot of people didn't know this. Some people did, but there was a man named Botham Jean who was murdered in his apartment by a police officer named Amber Geiger here in Dallas. And Jasmine went around holding herself out as the civil rights attorney who was representing his estate and his family, and that was just completely fabricated. And his family actually had to serve her with a cease and desist. I don't know if they actually filed suit on her and non-suited or what, but I know they served her with a cease and desist to force her to stop lying, to try and big herself up using their deceased son's name. And that's the type of person that Jasmine is. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by evil. Like, that wouldn't even cross my mind. But she wanted to be famous, and she wanted to be looked at as one of these big time civil rights lawyers. And so she lied. Like, just straight up. Like, I'll just straight up lie. Like, she straight up lied and said that crossing the border illegally is not a crime. That was a flat out lie. It took America 5 seconds to Google 8 USC 1325 to see that this is a total crime and you can do federal time for this. She's got no problem just straight up lying. This is causing her to lose voters in TX30. You guys got to understand, TX30 is not a big ghetto. It's not. She might make people think that, but people here believe in God. They were fooled by Jasmine. Many people were fooled by the Democratic Party and they were fooled by Jasmine. But, you know, the efforts of President Trump and Elon Musk and this USAID revelation, and, you know, you got all this money to give to these illegal immigrants to stay in 5-star hotels and cell phones and blah, 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 but you don't have anything for the people who actually, they can't get with that. So,
well, she said we don't need $5,000. That's what
Jasmine
she
did say
said.
that, you know, but she's rich.
We don't need it, but
I
a
do
lot of
have
people
one more
need it,
question for
especially
you,
this
though.
senior. So
I
you
can
know.
use it. I could use 5,000
though regarding Trump. Now, I don't know, you know, your full political history. I don't know whether you were a Democrat before, but I mean, are there any statements where you've said things against President Trump that people can look up and make a thing out of? Because if that's a thing, it's going to be a thing. So let's
man, you know, I've always liked Trump, and I did a podcast a few years. It was actually during COVID, I think, and it was with this guy from this group called Fastball. It was like an art, and we were talking about Trump. And he hated him. And I was like, well, I love Trump. And this is around the time that, you know, the BLM and all that stuff was hot, right? Ahmaud Arbery and all this type of stuff. And I read a report about the FBI had discovered that, you know, white nationalists, or AKA white supremacists in America, had started to go get badges and like join police for it, like especially out in California and stuff like that. And like you had police departments that were like 90% gang members. You know what I mean? And so this is institutional racism. When you have a whole police department whose mission it is to further their, even if it's black people trying to do that to white people or Mexican or whoever, it's racism, right? And I don't stand for racism against white people. I call Jasmine out all the time. I call white supremacy out when I see it. I'm not one of these black Republicans who is blind to the things that are happening to my community. I speak the truth on it, right? And if I feel like my people are being attacked by the world, I'm going to stand with my people. And that's what that was. I said something about Trump because Trump, this is before I got the whole clip. And this is also something that woke me up. Like the media will like manipulate stuff and cut off the other half of the president's sentence. And he said that those are very fine people on both sides. And I was like, wow, really? But then I hear the whole clip later and I'm like, okay. That it actually wasn't as bad as the media tried to make it out. But I sent out some tweets and I was like, you know, I'm glad that he's bringing out all these people who hate us, right? Who have been hiding in society doing their thing, but now they feel really vocal. So let's have the conversation as America. That's where I was coming from. Like, I'm tired of the festering hatred on both sides. Let's come to the table and have a conversation. It wasn't an amicable thing. But it took somebody like President Trump to like bring all those feelings to the surface. And now you look, it's 5 years later, and people like myself and people on the other side, we got all that stuff out of us. We decided to like let it go, even if you had a legitimate grievance. Like right now, we got Trump in office, and this is probably our last opportunity as America to take our country back from these globalists, right? And from these foreign entities who come in and buy our politicians. And so you got to be locked in on that. You can't be distracted by this fake racism stuff out here. I don't know a single white person who's ever come to me and been like, you can't get this job because you're black or because you're black, whatever. I know it happens, but I don't experience that on a daily. I get more racism from my own people, if I'm being honest with you. And so I've said some things about Trump that were taken out of context, but I stand by everything that I said. Like at the time, I didn't have all the information. And I said that I called him a liar. With respect to some things that he said, but then when I see the full clip, I'm like, I'll retract it. And I'm not afraid to do that. Now I'm less quick to react now because I'm older and I'm wiser. But yeah, man, like racism exists. White supremacists are a thing. Black supremacists are a thing. You guys ever heard of Tariq Nasheed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had
it's on both sides.
Tariq Nasheed. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had Tariq Nasheed come down to when I was in law school. I had him come down and show, because I wanted to show that film Hidden Colors, because I was like, wow, I didn't know that we, you know, had so much influence like this, and it was great. So I was like, I want to show this to my people because we are so American. Like, we are so in this thing. Stop hating America. And so he came down, we showed it. It was during Greek Week. We packed out the auditorium. Everybody said nobody would come, and it was like the biggest event of that year. We took pictures at the end, and we went our separate ways. Tariq and I haven't spoken since then. Now, you know, I like that Tariq cares about his community, and I can't control what he says, but I have evolved past that whole like FBA and all that. Like, I'm a dad now. And so my son, his best friend is a little Jewish boy, right? And I didn't grow up in a Jewish community. This is my first experience. That little boy's dad is like one of my best friends. You see what I mean? Like, having children, you're going to either have to turn your racism up to put that into them, or you're going to have to let it go and just go with the flow. My kids have friends from all different races, and I am not going to teach them to hate anybody. I'm learning from them.
Pivot a bit off of racism. If we are to elect you, right, we're electing you, we're sending you to the House. How do you feel about continuing resolutions and things like that? These things that are being passed right now, like the continuing resolution that just passed. Like, are you a reliable vote for Trump for these things, or are you kind of like a Thomas Massie sort of like if as a voter, as a Trump supporter, these are things I want to know if I was to send you to Congress?
I support Trump. I think Trump is a strong leader. He is a very wise businessman. This guy is twice my age, and he has lived my life 100 times over. I understand that his understanding of the world is much more vast than mine. I know TX30. I know North Texas. I know a little bit of Georgia from being in the military. But this guy knows countries and world leaders. I have to trust his leadership. I'm just a 38-year-old soft-brained lawyer. This guy is the man, okay? And so he's the president. It's not my job to question him. It's my job to represent my constituents. And if he's going to do something that's going to hurt my constituents and not help America in the long run, and I can see that clear as day, then yeah, I'm probably not going to be supportive. I just don't see him doing that, though. That's the thing. Like, President Trump is America first, and he's gone out of his way to show that he's got love for my community and for the people in TX30 that look like me, right? And so I trust President Trump. I trust his leadership. Even if I don't really understand his long game, I think it's my job to trust him and to let it play out. And so even if I don't agree, it's just like I'm an attorney, right? Like, even if I don't agree with the judge's ruling, but I know that that's how it's supposed.
Are we freezing?
I'm good.
Maybe it's him. Anyway, we're gonna move forward. We have Luigi Mary in the room. Luigi, hello. Welcome. He's on my end. I guess Sheldon got dropped, but thank you, Sheldon, for coming on the show. And he was out campaigning. And I got a hold of him. So anyway, I'm glad that he came on to explain who he is, and we know he's running against Sprocket Crockett. So anyway, Luigi, welcome. Tell the people who you are, and you're running for Miami Beach Commissioner.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome, family. Welcome, friends. I always say that, so I'll continue to say that. Welcome, family. Welcome, friends. Because that's how I feel, even though I think that with all of the changes that we've experienced with telecommuting from work during COVID and work from home and hybrid working, I think that even though you have connections with some of your fans, some of your supporters online, and you're in different states, you still feel like it's family. So I say welcome, family, welcome, friends. But yes, thank you, Laverne. Thank you, everybody in the audience. And welcome back, Mr. Daniels.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Oh no, you're
That's
good.
Okay.
Welcome back. So yeah, so I was just saying hello to everyone. But again, yes, my name is Luigi Mary. I am running for Miami Beach Commissioner for Group 1 in the city of Miami Beach. The election is in November, and we're happy to announce our launch, and we're just thankful to be here. And the platform is Community Unity. Community Unity. So that's our platform. So I want to welcome back Mr. Daniels so he can continue his thought.
Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. I got cut off. But the main thing is I'm going to trust President Trump. That's what you can expect from me. So even if I don't see the full vision, like, I understand that I don't see the full vision. And so I just need to trust our president. He was elected by 75 million, people. Who am I? You know, who am I? So that's kind of how I feel.
I mean, I think, I was told that once it is that you go into that position, it's no longer your position. It is you to support the president of this country. And so whatever it is that your opposition to that or your questioning of that may be, the country will expect you to support the president and his agenda. And
Right.
so I think you've laid that out, that you do plan to trust him and support him.
Yeah, I do. I trust him right now.
Hold up a minute. That's old school politics, because that was always the way that it has been. People, the new person that came in, everybody just basically supported and went along with it, But these days, with that mental illness being such a widespread thing in this country, we have people that don't know if they are a dog or a cat, or if they are rat. They don't know what they are these days. They don't. I mean, you see them all the time. They're all tatted up with horns on their head and horns in their nose. So we are going through a transition in this country that is totally deals with a lot of stupidity and mental illnesses. I mean, I saw a lady the other day. She did a video and she said, all my kids are trans, all my sister kids are trans, and every kids in our family are trans. No, everybody in your family has a mental illness, and that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is, because these kids, they are going to go along with what their parents say, especially if they start them at such a young age, feeding them that stupidity. And unfortunately, they don't have no choice in the matter, at least while they are young. But moving right along, Sheldon, to back what you were saying, then we'll go back to Luigi.
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Well, I have a question for you, Sheldon, because you
Yes,
said
ma'am.
that you had raised about $55,000 to date. And we all know that any type of candidacy, especially for a United States congressman, the money has to be there. And yes,
Yeah.
we are support you, but you do understand that Jasmine Crockett will have millions put behind her
Oh yeah.
to keep that, rogue agenda of hers going. So
Right.
say that you don't get, $1 million in fundraising. How do you plan to supplement your strategy? What's your strategy to deal with that?
First of all, I will get that. That won't be a problem. But Jasmine and I are different. She's got friends in high places. I got friends in low places. And what I mean is my family is here. Like my aunts, uncles, my cousins, my little brother, right? I have people all over this district that are vouching for me in the streets, so to speak, because that's Jasmine's base. It's not the CEO that's voting for Jasmine Crockett. It's the people standing on the corner that they come pick up and say, "Hey, we'll give you a ride to go vote." That's who she's going for. When those people see that, well, they already know that she's fake now, right? She's not from that life. But as they learn more about me, because a lot of the people in the district only met me as Attorney Sheldon Daniels, they didn't know the young Sheldon. And so those people have to be my voice to kind of get me that street credibility where I don't already have it. And that's how I plan on countering that. And just doing old school politics, like going door to door. I was a salesman when I was a teenager, going door to door, wearing a suit in hot Texas with a briefcase, selling vacuums and office supplies for Quill. I'm not a stranger to doing the hard work. Like that's my superpower, because I know most people won't do the hard work. I know most people coming from where I come from aren't going to take the LSAT. And so just taking it, I'm already beating 80% of the people, you see, and that's how I think.
For the people that are just joining us, we have Sheldon Daniels here, who's running for TX30 against Jasmine Crockett. And we also have candidate Luigi Mary that is from Miami Beach, and he's running for that district as well. And this is Luigi's first time running. I often see him out at the GOP meetings, and he is someone that is there, and he has always supported so many of the candidates that had ran for office. So this time he decided to throw his hat into the ring and run as a candidate himself. So
Thank you,
So
Mr. Mary.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone.
so Sheldon, are you red? Have you gotten any support from the GOP, whether in Texas or nationally? How is that looking?
It's looking good. Here locally, like I said, we're trying to flip Dallas, guys. This isn't just a normal election season for us. We're mounting a major offensive right now to try to flip Dallas. And we're starting at City Hall, the State House, and then my race next year. The resources are going to where they're needed most right now. I'm perfectly fine running my campaign. I'm doing a great job. I got the volunteers. I got my team together. I'm raising money. I just got a fundraiser on board yesterday. So I anticipate that we're going to do like a major fundraiser here pretty soon, like in the next coming week or so. So yeah, I mean, I'm out here working hard. I mean, we're running this, it's a solid campaign. I wish I could make it seem more glamorous, but I'm just knocking all the doors that I possibly can. I'm hanging door hangers when nobody's home. I'm making the calls and I'm doing the podcast and I'm talking to the people. As far as the support from the national committee, I don't think that I'm getting any support from them. I could be behind closed doors because a lot of great things are happening outside of my control. So somebody up there is looking out for me. But nah, I don't think any of them, they probably don't even know I exist up there. Those guys are dealing with like, international incidents. And I'm just running for little old TX30. And so I don't expect to get any special treatment or anything.
Have you reached out to the GOP?
I've reached out to the Texas GOP. I actually met our GOP chairman at this event maybe a couple weeks back. We exchanged information. I reached out. I hadn't heard anything back from him. But from what I'm being told, anytime, it doesn't matter, like the district, but anytime you're trying to flip a predominantly African-American and Hispanic Democrat district red, you're not going to get a lot of support from the national committee, just historically speaking. And so my campaign, I never bet on that to win. I never was like, I'm going to have to earn their support to win. My plan doesn't involve that. My plan involves getting the people to vote for me. It's a real grassroots organic campaign. And I've served enough clients. I got over 1,000 clients under my belt and I'm a winner. So I have a lot of people who know my work ethic and like already are supportive of me and my law firm. Now I'm running for office. It's just a matter of, doing like this exponential growth type thing really fast to get them to talk to people and talk to people. That's going to trump money. Mr. Luigi could probably speak to this because Miami-Dade was once thought to be unflippable. And look what happened.
Absolutely. I mean,
You see, and that's like TX30.
Blue, deeply blue, strictly Democrat. And
There
now
you
we
go.
are R+17. So that is like unbelievable.
There you go.
So that just shows how much work that the Republican Party actually put in this time around.
I got Colonel West as my chairman. Colonel Allen West is the Dallas County Republican Party chairman. How can I lose with Colonel West? As a soldier, as a candidate, right? We are going to do this, y'all. I need you guys to start believing.
That's why, because we believe. Don't say that. What I'm telling you is to never not bring in the support of the GOP.
I welcome all support, Ms. Cutie.
They can open doors for you immediately. And I say
Please
that.
do.
I say that because I represented a candidate who was running to unseat John Lewis, which everybody would believe to be unbeatable. Yeah. So I'm telling you that support is mandatory because it brings in your corporate money. It brings in party money. It brings in endorsements. You can never, I understand grassroots, but the finish line to get across it with a W, you need the GOP. So I want you to put as much effort as you're putting into your street game, your canvassing, your relationships, and you definitely, let me just tell you what else is as important as the church. Your black barbershops.
I got a black barbershop tour. You're already, yeah.
I traveled to 31 cities, registering nothing but black men to vote And then once early voting started, I went back to those 31 cities and to make sure that they had transportation to the polls so that my work was not in vain. When I tell you
Yes,
the
ma'am.
barbershop game is the biggest, it's
Strong.
bigger than the church. In my opinion, it's bigger than the church because you have a solid foundation of Black men who want better, who are tired of struggling,
Absolutely.
who can see through the riffraff of Jasmine Crockett. So those two things I will tell you to put into your campaign game, because it is not unheard of that these things will help you get over the finish line.
Thank you for that. And that's just confirming, because the barbershop, I got 12 cities in my district, and the barbershop tour is at the top of the list as far as canvassing the district. And so thank you for reaffirming that. That was a good idea.
That's very important. Talking to as many people as possible. You know, it doesn't matter where they are, because some people that are homeless are even registered voters.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know?
Can
So
I ask you guys a question? Can I ask
go
y'all a
ahead.
question for some advice? Miss Spicer, Miss Cutie, whoever. How do I get the national committee to support me? I mean, I'm running a good campaign down here. It's a fair, honest campaign. I don't know what else I can do. You know what I mean?
Have you reached out? You personally, have you reached out?
I personally have not reached out to the national committee. No, I'm more focused on trying to talk to as many people as I can, and I only have so many hours in the day.
Well, I'm going to tell you how much help they can actually give you if it is that you are able to convince them to get behind you. It would cut your workload in half. I promise you that.
Who do you recommend? Who do you recommend that I reach out to?
I'm going to look into a couple of different avenues for you to reach out to, and I will hit you on X and let you know.
Yes, ma'am.
People that I've talked to on your behalf, because I can't express to you how, if the party's not behind you, you're going to have an uphill battle. The party must be behind.
It's already uphill.
You understand?
Stay focused. Don't give up.
I'm not giving up. And here's the thing, like, I'm independent, you know, like I could have stayed on somebody's couch or something, but I'd rather sleep at the bus stop if it means that I don't owe anybody anything. This is how I was homeless. I wasn't homeless because I didn't have nowhere to go. I was homeless because I don't want to be dependent on people. I'm just not built like that. My plan was to just run a strong enough campaign, and it was my understanding that if I were able to show enough support via funds raised, that's when the national committee would come in. And I have over 600 donations and almost 60,000 raised in under 3 weeks of fundraising. So hopefully,
WinRed?
I'm sorry.
Are you using WinRed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And maybe we can post your link up and ask people to donate to your campaign. Sheldon,
yes,
Daniels, y'all, you can donate to his campaign. He's running against Jasmine Crockett, and you know how much we need her out of the way.
Expedition.
Yeah. If you
for your campaign canvassing, are you using Campaign Sidekick?
These people are blowing my phone up. I'm sorry. What did you say?
I said, and for your campaign canvassing, are you using Campaign Sidekick?
No, I use eCanvasser.
Okay, so I'm going to recommend that you use Campaign Sidekick because it'll light your maps up for you where you have the most potential. I'm sure you're from South Valley.
I have that data. I got L2. I work with L2. Okay, and so I have the most up-to-date data, and I can totally visualize my whole district. This is how I know where to go.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, so I'm not hitting every door. Let's be clear. I'm not, and golly, I'm telling Jasmine everything, but I'm not talking to everybody right now. I'm 19 and a half months out. I'm going to Republicans. I'm going to their houses and letting them know, hey, get ready. Strap up. We're about to go to war. I'm going to need your vote November 3rd, 2026. Once I rally the troops, so to speak, now I can go out and start taking prisoners, so to speak, if that makes sense. I can win over more people to our side. And it's all strategic, but it's got to be step by step. I can't just be shotgunning it and just doing, if I'm going to take down the Democratic Party in Dallas County, it's got to be strategic.
Real slick. It's got to be real slick. I thank you for coming on. I'm going to, take a look at and I think you might be right. You know, the GOP does want to see how much money you have behind you before they throw their hat in the ring. I do, but at the same time, I do think you can, you know, have some conversations, get some guidance, build some relationships. I definitely think that's important because they have to know that you're in the game,
Right.
and you know, to help put you on the map. So,
Yes, ma'am.
I promise you, I will send you that information.
Thank you. And just to update you on that, I know you, thank you guys for being supportive, but I will be attending the Leadership Institute, the Candidate Development Training School in DC. Well, it's actually in Virginia, but I'm going to say in the DC area next month, April 7th, 8th, and 9th. I'm going to be going to DC every month between now and election time to do what you're saying, like to, you know, make those connections. I already went to CPAC and I shook every possible hand that I could at CPAC. That's what really.
Okay, he's frozen.
He's doing really good though. I've seen his growth. He's doing really good. I think he has a really good shot for real.
Okay. Especially,
I think he does.
especially,
I think he does.
Give back.
you know, he definitely did have a follow. Did have a follow. With Jess said she posed and
Yeah.
said she be 109 votes, and he's got.
Glitching here. What is going on? What is going on? Gee. Oh, we got an echo
We can't
too.
hear.
Oh, we got an echo.
We can't hear.
Got an echo.
Me, okay, and let's do this again sometime if y'all can hear me.
We can hear you now.
Hear you now.
Bye-bye.
We can hear you.
Okay. So I think that's a definite, introduction to Mr. Sheldon Daniels running against Jasmine Crockett. I hope our viewers will take a deeper dive into him and, throw him some support. That's his at Sheldon Daniels for United States Congress. So glad that he came on today to, help share his agenda. And I think he was convincingly, open.
That's the page, y'all.
That's his page. Yes. That is his page.
There's his link.
Yeah.
There's the link on the page. So if you would like to donate to his campaign, please go to his page and make a contribution to help him with his race. And Luigi, how things going?
Oh, wonderful. Things are well. Things are well. And that's one of the great things about this show that you created, the Hood Conservative Show. It's really a great space. How you mentioned Miss Kuti, is that correct? Kuti, excuse me, Miss Kuti. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. So as you mentioned, the barbershop, and I'll go back to what I was mentioning about having connections with fans and supporters online, even though you're in different locations. This show does that. Well, it allows, as the name says, hood conservatives, right, and others to really have a space where they can just have conversations about what's going on, pop culture, current events, and of course, political strategy, as you were mentioning to Mr. Daniels, of course, reaching out to the GOP and everything else, which I completely concur. So yeah, but glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Thank you. So what's your biggest battle running for your office in Miami Beach?
There is no battle. That's a great question. There is no battle, Ms. Kuti, because essentially it's simply a natural process that's flowing. Everything is flowing organically and naturally. When I was first,
Like you growing something. You growing that campaign, huh, Luigi?
Yes, I'm thankful. It was an interesting series of events. The way that this came about. So I initially was approached by wonderful people here in the coastal Miami Beach area to run, and I declined. And few people. When I say few people, I'm talking a handful of people, right? Less than 10, who are saying you'd be great, X, Y, Z, and I just didn't feel that the timing was right, the situation wasn't right, and I just declined. And then most recently, we had an interesting sequence of events. And it was like watching dominoes. I don't know if you any of you have watched these videos, and I'm sure we've all seen clips of them, where you see these elaborate domino setups that take, you know, weeks to put together, and then they go through in like maybe 30 seconds, but it took like a month to put it. That's how this campaign came about. Just the dominoes began to just flow like a beautiful symphony of energy just moving. I mean, it was really interesting. So I use that example just to talk about how there is no battle. You know, it just flows. And everyone has been supportive on both sides. I received just as much love from the Democrat side as Republicans, as well as libertarians. It's been a universal thing. It's very interesting. I'm very thankful. It's really a phenomenon, the way that it's happened, because it's more than just being in the right place at the right time. Because I've been here. It's not that. And speaking of being here, the Curly House has been here. Miss Spicer Laverne's Curly House, they've been putting in work. I was talking about just a quick mention here. I was talking about that last week Saturday at an event. We were talking about real, tangible, documented, actual work that the Curly House, Miss Laverne Spicer and her family have been doing in the community right there, Liberty City, Little Haiti, Allapattah. Everybody comes to benefit in that general area. But
from all over, actually.
Yeah.
Miami Gardens, everywhere.
That is
Homestead. People come here from Homestead. You know, a lot of times people come here is because they're tired of going through all the red tape when they need help. So they come because we cut through that red tape and make it easy for them to obtain the resources that they need without going through that. You know, I call it the zip code game, and I have always called that the zip code game because certain agencies use that as a means of turning people away. If you're not from their zip code, then, you know, they can refuse you because, you know, for funding reasons, because certain funding requires certain zip codes or whatever. But that's not, you know, what we do here. We are a ministry that truly blesses people that come that need help. And we also work with people that are going through trying times and difficult situations, because sometimes when people come here because of their situations, they come angry, you know, brokenhearted, hostile, you know, very hostile. So we have to work through all of that in order to we could work with all of that long as they don't come being disrespectful. Then you come being disrespectful, then we're gonna have a problem. But we could work through your hostility and anything else. You know, we try to help them, you know, with not just food, but with other resources as well. So that's why we are here. And I will say it again, when people come here, especially people that come out to volunteer, they always say, oh my God, I never seen anything quite like this, you know, because it's always so many people waiting in line that need their help. And you know, we make it look easy, but it's nothing easy about it. You know, it's nothing easy about working with people anyway these days. You know, it's just not an easy thing to do, but because we do have caring hearts and hearts of compassion, we work with them and we understand. So yeah, that's what we talked about Saturday at the meeting that we had. And Luigi was there. He was talking about his campaign, so that's why I invited him on, like I have been inviting him for weeks, but at least this time he actually showed up.
Yes, and that is a fact. Laverne has
front door.
Go ahead, it's just Amazon.
Of course. No problem. No worries. I was just letting it play out. So yeah, so it has been great. And yes, so there is no battle. There is no battle. It has been quite organic, and I'm just thankful. And I'm really just going with it. It is quite interesting. So that's initially initially how we arrived at this candidacy. I was pushed really to run in the previous cycle, but I just knew that the timing wasn't right, and I don't believe in forcing things. I don't believe in trying to force any process or processes. You have to follow the recipe. If it says bake the cake 375 degrees, don't put 400. Try to think you're going to do it 5 minutes faster. Do the 375 the way the recipe says. So, going through those levels of grassroots training, I literally have done thousands and thousands. Let me not say thousands and thousands, because that sounds like I'm talking about 10, 15, 20,000. So, but in terms of single digits, as in under 10,000, that I can say. In terms of door knocking, City of Miami Beach collectively has, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say 26 islands. During previous campaigns, myself and others, other organizations here in Miami Beach, we probably covered 25 of those 26 islands, except for the one island, Fisher Island, which is a private island, and everyone knows that Fisher Island is exclusive. But one thing I will say about Fisher Island, which actually is the current home of the owner, Mr. Stephen Ross of the Miami Dolphins. So I want to give a quick thumbs up and shout out to Mr. Stephen Ross, and also his COO, Mr. Tom Garfinkel, who was at the Super Return Conference, the North America Energy Conference, Super Return. You can check that out. It was held at our Intercontinental, excuse me, the Super Return, was held at the Intercontinental Hotel downtown Miami. That's where they have the orange ball drop for New Year's. It's called Chopin Plaza. So in any case, so I just want to give the shout out there because I mentioned Fisher Island is home, right? But since that island is a private island and only accessible by ferry, of course, we don't have access there. But the remaining, I want to say 25 islands, we reached out to a lot of people and had deep conversations. So in terms of that grassroots, time-tested training, that is a fact. It's undeniable, documented, put it in the mail, done. In terms of
I don't know what that is or what is going on, but keep on rolling, Luigi. I don't know what the hell that is. But anyway, just
no problem.
Tahoe.
But go ahead, Luigi.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right. Yeah, it's live TV, and that's what makes it fun too. The live experience. It's not the cookie cutter TV producer experience, which is always fine and it's super ultra polished. But this is real, so that's what's fun about it. So what I would say in terms of the overall campaign, the platform is community unity. There is too much division in the city of Miami Beach overall. So the city of Miami Beach, generally speaking, is cut into thirds. You have South Beach, Mid Beach, and North Beach. Please excuse me for a moment. All right, pardon. So you have, and thank you for your patience. So city of Miami Beach is primarily divided unofficially between South Beach, Mid Beach, and North Beach. So North Beach, in my opinion, has been the most neglected. And it almost feels as if Miami Beach has been governed as if it was two separate cities, North Beach, and then you have South Beach and Mid Beach, which tend to benefit a little more. But in terms of the distribution of services, that is something that I hope to address, and I plan to do so. I plan to provide immediate impact on day one. I always say that. So what does that mean? Immediate impact on day one. You get sworn in. What are you going to do? You're going to run outside and you're going to go start talking to the people? Yes. The answer is yes. As soon as I get sworn in, should I have the honor to do so, I am going to immediately get to work that day. I'll take a couple of photos and thank the people, and we're going to get right to it. And the reason why it's important to do so, if I'm of course blessed with the opportunity to do so, and I say that with respect, with a healthy confidence, but I do say that with respect. If I am able to actually go into office as a City of Miami Beach Commissioner for Group 1, that immediate impact is going to start at the grassroots level. Those relationships that were developed, painstakingly developed, those people are going to be reached out to, and they are going to hit the beach with beach cleanups. We are going to do graffiti cleanups where necessary. There are certain pockets of litter. I speak to the voters and I say that my ear is to the street. I say that figuratively, of course. When I say ear to the street, that's not limited to the quote unquote hood or urban area. You would say water cooler in a workplace or in a workplace environment or scenario, right? Around the water cooler. So I keep my ear to the street in terms of the neighborhoods. I'm always active at as many neighborhood association functions as possible. I'm speaking to voters daily, all the time. And the fact that I have already been in this sense of circular motion, campaign after campaign season, year after year, doing this, now we're just flowing with centrifugal force and we're just moving and flowing through it. And that's why I said there's no battle. It's just flowing. And this natural flow, it comes from a place of pure intentions in terms of what is best for the city, what is best for your fellow resident, your fellow human being, because there is too much of, in my opinion, I'm speaking for myself, Luigi Mary, I believe that there's not enough empathy in terms of public service. And I'll quickly go back to the Curly House again, talking about that situation. I mentioned back to Saturday's speech, I'll briefly reference myself. I mentioned that some of these people just need someone to talk to. Some of them, the only social gathering that they can go to and feel comfortable, if you even can call it a social gathering, but for them it is the distribution, because they're seeing other people just like them. Specifically, when I say other people just like them, I'm not talking about ethnically or social economic status. I'm talking about specific personal trauma and hardships that they're dealing with, food insecurity, things like that. So that's what I mean, people like them, not specifically based on race or ethnicity, right? So
well, we have such a mixture here.
yeah,
It's no certain race, it's no certain ethnicity. It is just a large group of people. Go ahead, carry on.
Yes, he has a question. Go ahead, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, okay. So, hey, how you doing? So, I'm actually a former resident of Miami Beach. I used to live on 9th and Washington, right in the middle of the entertainment district, right on the corner there. And I wanted to know, one of the biggest issues that I had was, I remember I lived there from like 21 to like 23, so like for 2 years, and we voted on something where they were trying to shut down or give a curfew to the entertainment district. I'm one of those people, I lean relatively young. I don't have an issue with an entertainment district. I think that, I'm on the side of the bars and the clubs, meaning that I don't mind things being open to 5 a.m. When I lived on Washington Avenue, I knew it was going to be noisy. It's like I'm from New York, so I mean, I'm used to living in Manhattan, the Bronx. I'm used to loud music, so I knew it was going to be loud and crazy. I don't have an issue with that, and I feel like that vote kind of split Miami Beach, because more of the people who live like down on South Beach, younger people like myself, we don't mind the noise and all that stuff. But I feel like a lot of the North Beach people, the older people, have an issue, because not to be a wokey, not to be that guy, but I do feel like a lot of them have an issue with a lot of, young people, urban people coming and being on the beach, which I never had a problem with. Like, 'cause I lived right in the middle of it. I knew what I was going for. So I want to know, because we don't, in Miami Beach, I know we never really did the whole partisan thing. No one's really Democrat, Republican as far as like Miami Beach, civic stuff goes. And we know the mayor is his corrupt ass. He's a Democrat. I'll be still in there. I forgot his name. They got caught on the hot mic with the whole, real estate deal. I forgot his name, the current mayor. So I want to know, are you one of those people that leans toward being an old fuddy-duddy, or are you more young and fun? That's basically where we're going with this.
Oh, definitely. No, I can answer that question. Now, I don't know anything about the current mayor and the statements you were talking about any was it some sort of a deal of
his real estate deals and whatnot.
Okay, so that is the first time that I have personally heard that. My experience with
it's all over the news, Luigi. It was all over the news. I mean, they ran that one into the ground. I can't remember his name.
On a hot
which
mic.
one
I forgot his name. What's that? I'm about to Google it right now.
Are we talking about the current mayor?
No, it wasn't.
The current mayor.
I can't remember who it was.
So yeah.
Who?
Minor.
That is the name of our current mayor.
I believe it was Minor. Hold on. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, because it was like a whole thing, and I remember right before the election, and of course I supported the Republican. But again, it's not really partisan like that in Miami Beach. It kind of is, but not really. That's why what I did when I went to vote, which a lot of Republicans do, is I would take each candidate's name and then look up Trump next to it and see what their statements are about Trump. That would kind of let me know which side of they're on, because it's not really a partisan thing in Miami Beach. It's kind of like, you really don't know what side people are on. You got to do a little research there. But I just want to know, were you more so on the side of like the bars and clubs, or are you more so on the side of like curfews and things like that? Like, where do you lie on that?
Well, so I will say that a part of my platform, I am focusing on the hospitality and tourism industry. So that falls in line with what you're saying, Mr. Benjerby, about the entertainment district, specifically 9th and Washington. Right. So that's in the heart of it. So in terms of my approach in my platform, the hospitality and tourism industry must be represented properly and fully. The representation that they've had in the past has been good, but there's always room for improvement. And I do believe that there are enough inefficiencies that can make a difference once addressed, in terms of certain practices, certain cost-cutting measures, streamlining certain things, and saving money where we can sensibly, and to make sure that more of that actually reaches the actual paychecks of those hospitality tourism industry workers, the working class people of Miami Beach. So this is something that is applicable in this race in the city of Miami Beach, but is also applicable through South Florida. And well, it would start Miami Beach and then municipality by municipality spread throughout Miami-Dade County, where we have further relationships. And then, of course, in Broward, you have West Palm Beach north of that. And essentially, municipality by municipality, by making intelligent choices in terms of how we harness this wonderful weather, this tourism industry, this hospitality industry, and making sure that we properly take advantage of all technological advances. So I'll give you an example. Right now in downtown Miami, this is not city of Miami Beach, but in downtown Miami, as you know, separate city, they're getting ready for Ultra. Now, the Ultra Music Festival is, in terms of the actual technology, the lights, the everything, the effects, the flames, the sound. It's really it's quite impressive. It's quite the show. So I mentioned Ultra because that's something that we all share in Miami-Dade County, because when we have Ultra, people are staying in hotels, even in Broward, to go to Ultra. You know, if they can't find something in Dade. So people, you know, it really brings a lot of people and a lot of fun.
Actually, who will be down there from the 25th through the 31st, and there are no. If you do get a hotel, it's $1,000 a night, because make sure that they had hotel arrangements. But yeah, it's one of the biggest conferences that Miami has, actually.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that March or April?
Yeah. Actually, I believe it's at the end. Well, actually, I'm not going to answer because I don't remember the date this year, but it's easily accessible online. But it is around the corner.
Yeah.
It is around the corner. So, in terms of the other portion, Mr. Benjerby, about the I believe you mentioned something about real estate deals.
Okay, it's March.
Right, and
March the 28th, 29th, and the 30th.
that's what I figured. Okay.
So do you guys have 2 conferences in town then?
Well, there's always something in town, you know.
Always in Miami.
There's always something, but yes, ma'am. I think that a good resource for all locals is the Miami New Times. I think that in terms of keeping the people informed on the wonderful restaurant reviews, their articles, the everything that they do, they really keep a pulse on the city. And me personally, I am always open to wonderful information, regardless of the source.
Have they endorsed you? This periodical? Have they endorsed you?
No, I'm giving a shout out to them just for being such a wonderful part of the community. They haven't endorsed me at all, and I mentioned that as an actual reader, as a citizen, because the Miami New Times, they always have great listings in terms of information that's helpful for let's say tourists specifically. If a tourist comes to Miami and they've never been to South Florida before, they can read the MiamiNewTimes.com or the Palm Beach Times or Broward Times, etc., and they'll be pretty good in terms of finding out what's what. So I just say as a friend of the community, you know. So yeah, I just give them a shout out based on that.
So Laverne.
So I was just wondering, all in all, where do you fall on curfews? Are you more so for curfews or against that sort of thing?
Yeah, the curfews. Let me let Miss Cootie get in there. I think she has something for Laverne.
No. Answer that. That's
certainly the curfews. I was open. I am on record. No, that's quite all right. I just wanted to, ensure proper display of etiquette here in this chat. But in terms of my support for the entertainment industry, it is documented on Channel 7 News, WSVN 7, our local. You remember Channel 7, WSVN Channel 7, Sunbeam Television. I'm documented there in support of David Wallach's Mangoes restaurant. Mangoes is one of our flagship restaurants, and I have always
right around the corner from me on 9th
That is
Street.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. And I am in support of Mr. Wallach and everything that he's done in the community and the staff of Mangoes at large. Mangoes is one of our flagship experiences on Miami Beach, on Ocean Drive specifically. If I remember correctly, and please forgive me because I'm speaking off the top of my head. I believe that there are 46 restaurants on Ocean Drive, and many of them really need proper support. Now, in terms of Mangoes and Mr. David Wallach specifically, the reason why that they are such an important part of the community. And again, it's not because of preference or politics, because remember, I just sat here and shouted out the Miami New Times, and now I'm shouting out David Wallach, and these people may or may not necessarily agree on everything, right? But they are both such integral parts of the community. How could you not shout them out? Because they do good work. In terms of the specific curfew, when there was the, I believe it was under Miami Beach Mayor Dan Gelber, the former mayor prior to the current mayor, Stephen Minor. I actually was in support and marched and protest. We had a protest at City Hall, and you can get the footage from Channel 7 News and WSVN 7. And we were in support of keeping the restaurants open. We did not want the 2 a.m. ban because we felt that it was cutting into the pockets, especially that tip money. For better or for better or for worse, a lot of tip money is made after midnight.
So you're against the curfew. Are we hearing you correctly? You're against the curfew?
Now, I want to clarify. In terms of a curfew, I want to clarify for everyone. We have a spring break curfew, and then we have year-round conditions. So, just for the sake of the listeners and the viewers, so that that's not conflated. So, previously, we were talking about during COVID. Just for clarification. So, during COVID, at the onset of COVID, just around that time, and I'll have to research the timeline, but just around the onset of COVID, that's when there were a lot of changes in Miami Beach, including the driving pattern on Ocean Drive. Ocean Drive,
I remember that.
Right, north and south traffic. And under COVID, there were some modifications and changes where there's a hybrid formation where it's southbound traffic, I believe from 13th going southbound with dual green painted bike lanes on the side. And this is a mixed hybrid formation. Now, that is a local conversation that has mixed views on by members in the community who feel strongly about that, the traffic pattern on Ocean, for various reasons: business, pleasure, otherwise, public safety, pedestrian safety, etc. So in any case, so I just want to provide some clarification for the viewers in terms of the curfew. So this curfew, the 2 a.m. ban, this was prior to all of the spring break issues that has become famous, right? So during that initial phase, I was completely against it because of the fact that I felt that we should just stay open and let the hours show which let the hours of operation is what I want to say. Allow the hours of operation to demonstrate which are your busiest times and which are going to be your most fruitful and productive times. In terms of tips, in terms of bars, restaurant, entertainment district, those rates spike after midnight. That is just a fact, because we know there's a saying about Miami time. If we watch any sports, especially Miami Heat, especially the Miami Heat, and shout out to Mr. Arison, Mickey Arison, the owner of the Miami Heat. Shout out to the Arison family. Shout out to Pat Riley. Shout out to The Office, and shout out to Coach Spoelstra, Eric Spoelstra. So just because I mentioned their name, I want to shout everyone out. And they employ a lot of people in the community. The Miami Heat, as an organization, employs a lot of people in Miami-Dade County and in Broward. So I just want to put them out there, put a shout out there for all of their employment opportunities that they're giving to a lot of young folks. A lot of urban folks do work. And a final shout out to Udonis Haslam, because he has his charity with the Heat. So I want to shout out everybody there. But yeah, so but essentially the issue in terms of the curfew, that was during the COVID, the initial COVID lockdowns. And I did support them because I wanted them to stay open. We know that tipping spikes at night. I mentioned Miami time. People are coming from other places. Sometimes people come to California. Sometimes people are coming to Miami Beach as their second or third destination. They might not start their night in Miami Beach. They might go somewhere in Miami Gardens, go somewhere, pass by, do a little walkthrough, and then go somewhere else, get something to eat, and then come down to South Beach. You see what I mean?
Miami is 24 hours a day. It's always alive. It's always something to do. It's always somewhere to go. The culture is very rich here. And I always say, Miami is like a tropical paradise on earth, because we have the weather is so beautiful here, 24 hours, 7 days a week. We have the beaches. We have so much to offer here. The people are not the friendliest. A lot of them are rude as hell. So just be ready to expect that, because You know the saying that goes, if you knock on my door, I'm gonna answer. That's Miami all day, 24 hours. You knocking at their door, they gonna damn sure answer you here. Okay. So don't be expecting. I mean, like yesterday, I was driving, right? So the guy behind me, he was riding one of those electric bikes, and it was a truck behind him. So the truck behind him was riding right on this guy's fender. And I'm looking in my rear view mirror like, dude, you in this big ass truck, you on this dude fender. And he's about to sandwich him in between my truck, his truck. He's about to smash this dude up.
Yeah.
So he was cussing the guy out on the bicycle. The guy on the bike is trying to fuss back. And I'm like, man, do you realize you on a bicycle and this dude here is like in a big ass high X F-150 truck or 250 or whatever it is? Get your ass on that sidewalk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's Miami. It's like, zero tolerance. They just don't care.
We need
And
empathy.
we'll quickly let you have it. We'll quickly let you have it. So
I agree. I mentioned empathy earlier. I mentioned empathy. You have to be willing to care about your fellow resident, like actually care. In terms of actually care, what does that look like? For me, I make sure that I treat everybody like a VIP. The housekeeping, the bathroom attendant, the janitor, everybody, the coaches. That's a fact. That is a fact. And the reason I do that is because sometimes that extra 10 seconds, that extra 2 minutes to let them tell you about their day and just and genuinely care, not just to go through it like, okay, hey, how are you doing? And then you're just thinking about your text message. To actually care, to really have a true connection. You could make someone's day just with that, because not everybody talks about their problems. So you don't know what the person's going through.
True. While
True.
they're killing bugs.
True.
My mama used to say, some things you need to keep it between you and the Lord and just don't tell nobody.
Amen.
She used to tell me that all the time. And okay. And I think that's some great advice, especially in today's world where people are finding out that, people that they have trusted all of their life and believed in these people all of their life are really not their friends. And they'll be like, well, I confided in them and I confided in him and I trusted him and I believed in him. Some things, my mom always said, if you don't want to hear something, come back. If you don't want to hear it repeated, keep it to yourself. And I'm gonna, I think that's a very good piece of advice. And then you ain't got to hear it come back no more, because what? You kept it to yourself, So some things that you don't want to hear it come back, keep it to your damn self. Everybody don't have to know everything that's going on in your life. Everybody don't have to know everything that's going on in your business. Right. Some things ain't for everybody, So we all have to be mindful in the things that we do. I think that's very important, especially in this life that we live, because it's not like in the old days where people really needed each other and people were so sincere, and when they said something, you knew it was heartfelt. You knew that they meant it. We living in a new day of age where people don't know how to be real. People don't know who to trust. They don't even know if they can trust anymore, and I found that to be true, especially because I used to worked so closely with I had kids that were in the foster care system. And one thing I found out about those kids is that because with DCF they were moved from home to home, so a lot of those kids grew up never knowing how to trust anyone, never knowing how to actually love anyone. So that's one of the issues we have these days. People don't even know how to love themselves. So if they cannot love themselves, how do you think they can love you? They cannot love you if they do not love themselves. So stop giving yourself 100% to people that do not give one damn about you. If they don't care about you, stop investing everything into them, and invest that into yourself. Get to know yourself, get to love yourself. That's very important, people. We living in a whole new day, a whole new age, and somebody mentioned it once again. Instead of looking at all of these rappers and rap artists and basketball stars and everybody else out here on social media that are doing these make-believe shits, and you are just feeding all into that. Take some time out to close the door and sit in the room by yourself to get to know yourself. Get to know you, make you that famous person in your life, make you that person that you love in your life, make you the person of substance in your life, and most of all, do something positive for yourself and stop blaming the white man. Stop blaming the white man. It's not the white man's fault. You got to start with that man in the mirror. Man in the mirror, just like Michael Jackson said, he's looking at the man in the mirror. You need to go look at that man in the mirror and get that man in the mirror together. Together. Okay.
Just then, the man
Accountability.
just signed an executive order demolishing the Department of Education.
Oh wow. Oh my
And I
goodness.
just retweeted that on my page. I just retweeted that. Now,
goodness.
hopefully, we'll be able to get some kids that can move past high school and be able to spell CAT. Okay, because that's what we want to see out here, y'all. We want to see
Oh,
kids
goodness.
grow wiser. We want to see people that are wiser. And something like that Sheldon Daniels just shared with us is that you don't have to be a product of your environment. He talked about how all of his family members was involved with drugs, but he didn't do it because he did not feel the need to. He wanted to be different. So just because all of your friends are doing something does not mean, if it's negative, it does not mean that you have to be a part of that. Okay. So think twice. Think twice, because always when I talk to young people, I always tell them that trouble is easy to get into, but it's very hard to get out of.
Right.
It's very hard to get out of. And while I'm on that topic, y'all, I want to share a little something with y'all about scams that are taking place, especially on our end. They're sending out scams regarding toll charges. So you have a toll charge that is due, and it's $7, and you can pay it right here by responding to this text. That is a scam. Please do not answer them. That is a scam. They also, because of the driver license places here, they are booked up for at least 3 to 4 months right about now in advance. You have people that are out here selling their place in line for $250 to people that need an appointment to get into the driver's license place. So please beware, y'all. Please beware. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. You have people that are sending emails out about Coinbase. Something just happened with your account. Please call me. And then you call them and they sound like somebody that's in Nigeria. Come on, y'all know that shit don't sound right. Yes, this is your Coinbase, or how much money is in your account? Why would Coinbase be asking you how much money is in your account? Bitch, if you Coinbase, you should know how much money is in my account. Why would you even answer that? Think. The person don't even sound right on the phone, okay? And some of these scams look so legit. Some of them look so legit. They have a copycat version of the websites and everything. But call the companies to confirm if it's true or not. Do not call that number they sent you in your email. Do not call that number that they text you.
And
You
don't-
go online, Google that company's number, and call them.
I have something I want to chime in on with. I'm glad you mentioned that. In terms of the public safety, that's essentially like a public safety message. So now, in terms of the actual driver's license scam, in terms of the multiple booking, that's a very important story locally. You can also follow up with any of the local media channels of your preference here. We have Channel 7, Channel 6, Channel 10, Channel 4, CBS Miami, etc. Your Telemundo, Univision. But the person who is really responsible for repairing and correcting that situation is our good friend Dariel Fernandez. Dariel Fernandez is the first new Miami-Dade County tax collector. It is a county-wide office. He's a constitutional officer in the regard of his title and position. So
I'm sorry, Luigi. Laverne, I have a meeting in 20 minutes, and so
Okay.
I have to go. Luigi, it was very much so a pleasure to meet you and hear you, and a lot more about Miami Beach. I'm sure you're going to come back. Good luck. If you need any
Yes.
support, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Benji, it's always a pleasure. You weren't yawning today, but you were killing bugs. So good to
Well,
see you.
it's that time of the year again. Thank
I
God
know.
the spring is here.
yes,
Look at Benji smacking bugs.
Oh,
So
it dropped me crazy.
Fern, for having me. I will see you guys
Sure.
next week, God
Thank
willing.
you. Thank
Everybody,
you so much, Travian, for coming on.
thank
Have
you. I'm actually going to join Ms. Cootie as well. But thank you so much. Thank you so much, Laverne. Thank you so much, Mr. Ben Jerby. Definitely, I appreciate the questions. And in terms of the campaign, in terms of the entertainment district, the hospitality district, I believe that we can find a safe way, meaning proper police enforcement for crowd control and everything else, and property and the safety of the residents, because a lot of those towers on Ocean, people do live in them. You know, now some of them are snowbirds and don't live there all year round. Some of them are seasonal residents. They're snowbirds, as we call them. But as long as we can maintain the quality of life for the people that live there, because remember, these are high net worth individuals who are contributing to the community through taxes, through businesses. They own businesses. They have employees. So these are not people that just represent a single vote. They represent the people they employ and businesses, etc. Not all, but some. So that has to be taken into account. But in terms of the overall operations, I think that if we can safely provide a way for the hotels, the entertainment industry to make money later into the night, but safely with proper programming, certain programming is not going to fall in line with that. I'll leave you with this, Mr. Ben Jerby and Laverne. The City of Miami Beach Black Affairs Advisory Committee is a committee that I was a member of prior to me leaving the committee to run for the commission of Miami Beach. So as a result of my filing, my seat on the Black Affairs Advisory Committee was dissolved. It's essentially you give up the baby teeth to get the big teeth, right? So when I was on the Black Affairs Advisory Committee, one of the programs that we had, and that is chaired by Glendon Hall of Miami Beach, Mr. Glendon Hall, Morehouse graduate. So he's a chairman. So when we were there, we had an event honoring Josephine Baker, and it was a fabulous event, and it was classy. we had people like, essentially, you know how you have cover bands that do tributes at right. So essentially with the costume, with the dress and everything, that's the type of programming that is going to be accepted to go late into the night, but not the drill rap entertainers and the mumble rap. That is not going to be accepted. That's probably going to be rejected outright by the community, not because of the art of the mumble rap or the drill rap or the trap or whatever you want to twerk, whatever you want to throw up there, right? It's more about the crowd. People who are going to see Josephine Baker or go see that, they're going to get dressed. They're going to be dressed to the nine. You're going to see fabulously dressed people of all races, and they're going to be there to have a beautiful date, beautiful time, or just to come and just enjoy good music. You know, not everyone's going to be wearing a tux, right? But the point is the type of programming. With that, that's something, as an example, I would expound upon. You look at people like, you could have a Duke Ellington night. You could have, God bless Angie Stone. You know what I mean? We have talent that we can highlight in the entertainment district that will be acceptable to the actual residents in terms of the crowd. But if you're talking about an actual Rolling Loud type of situation on Ocean Drive, I can tell you that will be shut down just because the people are not willing to compromise on that. That's the pulse of the people.
But how do you determine that? Because wouldn't some of that be a violation of free speech? So you're saying like some things are acceptable and some aren't. How is that determined via government? Like how?
No, not government. No, I appreciate the question, and I'll hopefully this can clarify, can provide some clarity. So I'm not talking about the government. The city of Miami Beach is a city entity. I'm talking about the residents. Remember, I mentioned that a lot of the people on Ocean, some of them are snowbirds, right? And some of them are business owners, and they represent people they employ. That's what I'm talking about, not the city of Miami Beach as a municipality. In terms of the freedom of speech is definitely a topic that's been in all over the news in Miami Beach pretty much the past month or so. Now, in terms of the performances on Ocean and the type of programming, that would be with private entities. So that would be the markets deciding.
Yeah.
As an example, in October is Hispanic History Month. And during the month of October, I'm talking about, at least in South Florida, they have a lot of different festivities to celebrate different countries throughout the month. So you'll have, for Puerto Rico, you'll have a Venezuela, you'll have a Brazil, you'll have a this, you'll have a that. And then you go through South America, that's 2 weeks, right? Central America, etc., Honduras, Nicaragua, all these different places. Spain itself, obviously Spain. So the differences are celebrated through all those Spanish-speaking countries or Spanish-speaking nations, right? Now, during the month of October, those festivals and activities, generally speaking, do not have violence. Excuse me. I didn't hit the cough button. So I don't know if you heard that, so I'll repeat it. Generally speaking, those Latino programs, when I say Latino, I say that for lack of better, we have to use titles just to explain.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
To people. Right. I'm not a fan of titles. We're the human race. So, I'm not big on titles. Sometimes I'll say African American with air quotes because, we're all the human race. The epidermis is only but a couple millimeters, right? But generally speaking, in terms of the crime reports and the incidences of petty theft, violence, etc., they are simply not the same when you're looking at certain rap artists. Not all. I'm saying certain types, and that's just a fact. That's a statistical fact. So in terms of those Latin festivals or Spanish festivals, they generally don't have much pushback.
I mean, I understand that, but what I'm
I don't know
saying
if
is,
that,
how
I don't
do
know if
you,
that provides clarity.
so how are you going to keep rap off the beach then? Because it sounds like you're trying to keep rap off the beach. So how do you do that and not like violate the Constitution? Like, how does that work? Like, how do you determine like this is acceptable and that's not acceptable, or this is okay and that's not okay? Because my thing is like, I'm not a fan of the drill rap or anything like that. I'm 41. I don't listen to any of this crap, but I am a fan of, liberty. And when you start restricting speech here, you know what I mean? It may be the drill rap one day, but then it may be something I'm saying tomorrow. So so for me, it's always about, I'm a libertarian really first, you know what I mean? Small L libertarian. I'm always looking out for freedom. So for me, when I was living in Miami Beach, I was definitely, and like I said, in the vote, then they lost. I mean, they got the curfew. Even though, like I said, I just feel that people that lived in the immediate area that would be harmed by it per se were more so for it, because a lot of those workers who were there that were making the tips and things like that, who worked and lived in the neighborhood, because a lot of people, they worked at Mango's, they walk home, they weren't like from far away, whereas you have a lot of people from the richer people from North Beach, Mid Beach, who are kind of imposing their will on our part of the beach. It has nothing to do with them. Like, y'all can be boring up there in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 80s, like be boring, that's fine, but like we had our own little vibe down here. You know what I mean? Like that's, what I mean? Like South Beach is like a vibe. So for me, it just felt like they were imposing their will. And again, I'm for workers' rights. I'm for the little guy. You know what I mean? I just feel like having that curfew to make these people feel better, you're cutting into a lot of the wages of a lot of the people who make their money literally. You said yourself, most of that money is made in the nighttime, you know what I mean? And as a person who was a resident there, I ended up moving away. Like now I'm in Philadelphia now. So, I mean, obviously I don't count. Like I'm not your 63 anymore, but I was there, I was a person who lived there. We were cool with it because we knew what we signed up for. You know what I mean? Like I moved to South Beach. I didn't move to Pembroke Pines. I didn't move to Miami Gardens. I moved to South Beach. It's just like if I lived in Times Square or something like that. You know what I mean? You kind of know what you're signing up for. So that was all. I was just curious, just not even trying to like bust your balls, but I'm always curious about what people feel about liberty, because I think that that's the most important thing of all the things that we do. Wherever we elect, we need to know how the people feel about liberty, because we're entrusting you as our representative in the government. So I just need to understand, for anybody that I'm voting for, that they put liberty, even over party of whatever, Democrat, Republican, whatever, they put the liberty of the individual as a forefront thing for me. So I'm never in any type of, and I talked about this with Laverne before, the curfew they put on in New York. I'm from New York originally during COVID, and I left. Like they're putting curfew. You're telling me I can't stay out of my house past 8 o'clock? No, I gotta go. That's not America. That's not freedom. That's crazy. You know what I mean? So that's why I was just curious about that. I'm always curious about what anybody feels about liberty, because I think that's just the most important thing.
Absolutely. Well, I hear that. No, I want to continue with Mr. Benjerby just to let him know. In terms of what I was explaining, that is not the position of Luigi Mary. I was telling you the position of the owners and the residents that live on Ocean Drive. That's their position. So I was letting you know what their position is. My personal position, Luigi Mary, I actually that's why I mentioned I was marching with Mango's and David Wallach, the owner, and his staff. I was in support of it. But what I was mentioning was the position of those on Ocean Drive specifically. And you have, in terms of the people who live on Ocean Drive, those are the ones who primarily are pushing for this change because of, and again, this is their position, because of the issues that happened during COVID. Now, and when I say COVID, I'm talking about the first 2 years, like when COVID officially locked down. I want to say March 2020 and 2021. That's when it really was the peak, at least over here. That was the real peak. So during COVID, there were, a couple of little stampedes, and you had people, jumping on cars, turning up in one situation. That that's when some of the viral videos.
Yeah.
So what is happening now is a result of COVID, But the thing is, that was a unique, rare situation. The reason why it was because people were locked down, and Florida was the first free state to that stayed open. So people
That's where I left too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
People were coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
So, guys, listen.
Oh, it's time to
We
go.
have
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
truly ran over our
Absolutely.
time
Thank you, Mr.
today.
Ben Derby.
But in closing, Luigi,
Yes,
go
ma'am.
ahead, Benji.
I gotta say, before we go, just to have a fact check, it was Dan Gelber who was doing the real estate deal and caught on the hot mic. It was Dan
Okay.
Gelber.
Right.
just wanna make
Okay.
sure we didn't confuse anybody. We don't want no fake news over here. We do our
That's
fact
right.
check.
No fake news on
Right.
the Hood Conservative, baby.
Right.
Right.
Luigi, tell
Thank you.
people how to reach out
Thank
to
you.
you if they would like to donate to your campaign or help out in any kind of way. How can they reach you?
Definitely. I appreciate a lively conversation. Definitely appreciate it, Benji, and definitely appreciate it, Laverne. So the number one thing that a person can do right now is to share. These are things that you can do for free. Follow on X, follow on Rumble, follow on YouTube, and share. Actually share. And I tell people to say, hey, have you heard of this guy? Have you heard of this candidate? He's in Miami Beach. The campaign platform is community unity. I am really trying to bring together all sides so that we can really make the best experience for anyone who comes to visit, work, or live in Miami Beach, and that will spread through South Florida. So Luigi Mary, search Luigi Mary on X, Luigi Mary on YouTube, Luigi Mary on Rumble. And from there, you'll be able to support, and we'll be spreading all of our news through Rumble and X and YouTube.
And Benji?
Just Ben Derby. Y'all know what it is with me. Ben Derby on everything. X is whack, but you know, I'm on TikTok and Instagram as well. Follow, you know, all that good stuff. Y'all know what it is with me.
Okay, and I am Laverne Spicer, your host at the Hood Conservative. Please follow my guests, follow Luigi, follow Benji, follow Travian, give a shout out to Sheldon. Follow him also,
Yes,
and support him in any way that you would like to help. Please reach out. If you would like to consider being a guest on my show, please inbox me. Inbox me on X, because even though I'm on Rumble and YouTube, this is my main platform that I will answer you back on. I see you guys were very active over here in the comment section. Mr. F. Trump, I would like to invite you onto one of my shows, because you asked me a question. And the question you asked, I did not answer you. But the person, it was in regards to DeSantis, in regards to Florida voters, and the person that was part of that worked with someone else on that legislative process was on my show last week, and that's Ruben Young. So I want to have Ruben Young on to address your concerns about that whenever he comes back on the show again. And I would like to thank everybody for joining us today. See you all. Remember to follow us next week, the same place, right here on X at 3 p.m. So I don't know what that one is. But anyway, follow us. See y'all next week right here on X on the Hood Conservative Podcast. Thank you very much.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Y'all be blessed.
All right, take care, everybody.
Hi, I'm Laverne Spicer, and I'm asking for your support today. Thousands of Americans struggle to get food, and they wonder where their next meal is going to come from. But I'm here, been working with them for over 25 years to provide food to people that need it the most, right here at our community food bank. So today, I'm asking you for your support. Please provide a contribution to help make a real difference in our community and to help us feed people. And you can do it right here. Donate today on Cash App, and you will see the link above.